Hi beloveds, hope you're doing well today. It's a beautiful day out here, and I have some woodpeckers around. I share my yard with three beautiful woodpeckers, and they're really active in the morning, and I got to see them today because I hear them, but I never actually got to see them until this morning, and so it was just really nice. It was joyful to see them, three of them just flying around the tree. And so anyway, let me get to this video. I want to talk to you about the pandemic and about remote working and some statistics around that because right now we're finding that for example women really have been hardest hit by the whole pandemic, by this great resignation, by all of the instability that's been going on the past couple years plus. Okay, women continue to have higher expectations placed on them. Women continue to bear the brunt of work at home, and so they'll be working in the home, outside of the home. We know this. You know, I'm preaching to the choir here. We know this. But the fact of the matter is, it's been even more difficult. Women have had the highest job loss ever back when the numbers were done in August of 2021, and it hasn't gotten that much better, I don't believe. And so that's something to keep in mind. And now, as some are choosing to go back into the workplace, we find some other statistics. So there's a Pelta study, 2021. They found that when there's a choice given, whether to go back into the office or to stay remote, men in general choose to return to the office. Women in general choose to continue to work remotely. And so that's one statistic there. And what we also find is that it sounds like it makes sense, and it's logical in many people's perspectives, but those who return to the workplace, they're seen more by management, they're more visible, you could see that they're working and so on. And so this contributes to them getting more promotions than those who are working remote, their salary increasing than those who are working remote. And so when we take that into account, that men are choosing to go back into the office less so than women, and when we know that even before that, when people were working from home once or twice a week, that people who were in the office got better opportunities and more promotions than those who spent 1 or 2 days working remotely. So what this looks like to me is that the gender gap is going to widen. The gender gap when it comes to salary, the gender gap when it comes to promotions is going to widen. Now, this gap has already been here, and it's worse for minority women, worse for Black women, Latino women, so on. And it's going to widen because, again, women are choosing to continue to work remotely and men are not. And so that gap is going to continue. And that's why it's so important. It's getting increasingly important to really be deliberate about your career and managing it. If you're in the world of work, being very deliberate about that. On average, we have about 12 jobs during our working life, about 12 jobs. And older folks tend to stay in those jobs for at least 4 years. Younger people between 25 and 35, the Department of Labor statistics there show that it's more like 3 years, if that, okay? So, we're gonna be moving a lot. We're gonna have maybe, in that 12 jobs over a lifetime, a work lifetime, it varies a little bit between demographic groups, but that's the average. So we're gonna be having multiple jobs, and the remote hybrid workplace is probably here to stay. So if you are going to be pushing to stay remote, know that there are other external factors going on that are going to be against you and inhibit you from getting promotions and the salary increases and the recognition that you might otherwise get if you were visibly in the office physically, okay? So know that, and take steps to mitigate that as much as you can. And one of those ways is just being deliberate about your career. Even though you're remote, still document all the great things you're doing, update your resume as you go along, and when there's opportunities to do things that can add value to your resume and help you to move forward with your goals, take them. Even though you're working remote, you can still be on projects and things, and if it's a hybrid project where some people who are on the project are in person and others are remote, make sure you don't get left out of things. Make sure that's clear up front. No meetings unless everyone is here or whatnot. So, think about those kind of things and be careful about that. Another thing that I've seen is people who have disabilities, people who have other special circumstances, people with children. Early on in the pandemic, there was a ton of instability when it comes to childcare, and that really impacted women and anyone with children. People who have disabilities or other special circumstances, it's harder. These are folks who have been dealing with stuff before the pandemic. It was tough for them before the pandemic. And now the pandemic happened and it's even tougher. We would think that more grace would be given for flexibilities and things, but not everyone is experiencing that in the workplace. Some people are not being given grace and flexibilities, and it's become harder for people who have special circumstances where they need certain breaks or they can't sit or stand for long periods or whatever it is. And so if you have a disability, if you're a minority, if you're have the kind of demographic where there's microaggressions against you, all these kind of things, you probably would want to be more deliberate about how you're managing your career, and keeping up with your resume and cover letter and making sure that you're living into your purpose and having joy. Because the workplace, it can be great and it can be terrible for some people. And you want to have a good experience. You want it to enliven and energize you, not drain you. Okay? So keep that in mind, and I'm here if you need me. And please comment in the chat below. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye.